So, Black Ops Cold War multiplayer has officially been revealed, and I've got gameplay right here taken from the official Call of Duty livestream. David Vonderhaar and the team at Treyarch, they took about half an hour to talk about multiplayer, the maps, the modes, the setting, the weapons, and even more, and I'm going to try and condense everything I can into this one video for you, including the small amount of information that we got on Warzone for Cold War as well. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, as I will be uploading more videos on Black Ops Cold War and Warzone for the game. Plus, we're trying to hit 600,000 subscribers before the end of the year, so it'd be great if you could help us reach that. Okay, so Black Ops Cold War is all about deniable operations set in the 1980s during the height of the Cold War. It's set directly after the events of the first Black Ops game. Operators from the story in the single-player campaign, they'll be carried into multiplayer and Warzone, along with a storyline that links from the single-player, so just like Modern Warfare. Cold War has this big overarching narrative, and each element of the game plays into that, and it takes cues from it. These deniable operations, they're the battles that you'll be fighting. They're the ones that never officially happened, not on paper anyway. We've got maps set in the North Atlantic, two factions fighting over the recovery of a prototype Soviet submarine on the sea floor, so air, land and sea combat with boats, jet skis, zip lines between the battleships, lots going on there. Then there's the desert of Angola, where there's this satellite crash and it's become a hotbed of activity. Even running through the streets of Miami, running around in the neon glow, the Kremlin was spotted in the multiplayer trailer, giving us a Moscow map setting, as well as Uzbekistan and the Ural Mountains. Cold War takes all of these locations with classic 3-lane map design, wide open spaces, and more unique large-scale maps, all into the multiplayer environment. Larger maps, they'll combine infantry and vehicle combat with access to ground vehicles like tanks and ATVs, whereas the smaller maps, they'll bring that classic 6v6 TDM and domination combat that we know Call of Duty does really, really well. Alongside TDM and domination for 6v6, we have Hardpoint, Free-for-all, Kill Confirmed, and Search and Destroy. Competitive fans, they're going to see the return of the Control game mode from Black Ops 4, and there's also 3 other modes that we need to talk about: VIP Escort, Combined Arms, and Fire Team. VIP Escort is a 6v6 mode. In each match, 2 teams take turns to protect or eliminate a player randomly selected as the VIP, equipped with only a pistol, a smoke grenade, and a spy plane for recon. The VIP has to successfully escape at one of the 2 extraction sites on the map as their teammates defend them at all costs. The round ends when the VIP dies or gets away, or when one of the teams is completely wiped out. Combined Arms is a new 12v12 game mode type that combines infantry warfare and vehicle combat into a single experience. Vehicles are geared towards different situations, and they include things like snowmobiles, dirt bikes, gunboats, wake runners, tanks, and even more. And then there's Fire Team. It's this new category of multiplayer mode where 10 teams of 4 players each face off against each other in large-scale maps featuring an assortment of vehicles to commandeer and objectives to complete as you best see fit. Fireteam is designed to allow for plenty of epic gameplay moments with big, unique environments for your squad to explore. That's according to Treyarch anyway. The first signature Fireteam game type is called Dirty Bomb, and we'll get more info on that as we close in on the open beta. So that's the locations and the various game modes covered, so now on to the combat of Cold War. Moving away from the older Pick-10 system used in previous Black Ops games, Cold War is using a creator class system, very similar to how Modern Warfare operates. You'll always be running a primary, a secondary weapon, a tactical and lethal equipment, a wildcard, and a full set of 3 perks in a loadout. Gunsmith from Modern Warfare, that returns in Cold War, although things seem to have been turned up a little bit. There will now be up to 54 attachments per weapon across 8 different attachment points, and one of the wildcards in the game ups the attachment restriction from 5 to the full 8, and that gives you way more control over your weapon. And the statistics appear to now be properly shown in the game as well. You can see from this screenshot here, you can see some proper statistics at the bottom, pluses and minuses, all that kind of thing. Hopefully, we won't have to rely on an external website for that kind of information anymore. The classic Cold War weaponry is all here as well. Weapons like the M16, the AK-74U, the AK-47, the FAL, the R700 sniper, the 1911 pistol, and of course even more. All customizable with plenty of attachments. Field upgrades are all Cold War era themed in Cold War, as you'd expect, with options like the SAM turret, the jammer, and the proximity mine. These are all earned via time spent in-game, just as they are in Modern Warfare. And score streaks are back in Cold War, completely revamped and apparently more dynamic this time, according to Treyarch. Score is no longer lost on death, and you'll earn score multipliers for stringing together multiple kills in the same life, so it does seem a lot more dynamic. You'll now earn score for playing the objective, and once you use your score streak, it will go onto a cooldown to prevent spam. They include the classic RCXD, the attack chopper, and even new stuff like the War Machine grenade launcher that was featured in the trailer. And then I've got a bunch of smaller things that didn't kind of fit into the normal conversation about multiplayer and all the settings that you have for your loadouts and stuff like that. It's more to do with general gameplay, but I wanted to mention them because I do think they're very important and they will somewhat set this game apart from the previous game, Modern Warfare. When you drop shot in Cold War, the weapon will automatically unscope to hipfire if you go prone and you're holding the ADS button. This is to try and combat the drop shot mechanic, and I think give the standing player a chance to fight back in a gunfight. I saw this happen during the multiplayer gameplay section. Unfortunately, I wasn't recording it at the time, so I can't show it to you, but that's what I witnessed. I'm not really sure what you feel about that, but for me, I hate getting drop shot in Modern Warfare, so if it's going to be less egregious in Cold War, then that's good for me. Time to kill in Cold War is set to be slightly faster than Black Ops 4, and so I think very close to what is currently active in Modern Warfare. Health auto regen is also back, so players can just focus on gameplay rather than managing their own health pool. Unlimited sprint returns to Cold War. Again, that means that you can move through the maps without losing speed and you can just focus on the gameplay. Every time you sprint, it's going to start with a small burst of speed and then it will settle back down to a normal sprint level as you keep moving. And I think this has been added because there is no tactical sprint in Cold War. You know, there's that two-stage system in Modern Warfare where you can sprint with your gun held up in the air, or you can just sprint normally with it swaying side to side using two hands on it. There is no tactical sprint in Cold War. Modern Warfare had that, this one doesn't. So I think that's why they've got that small burst of speed at the start when you start sprinting that then goes away. I think that's their version of that system. Players will be able to edit their loadouts mid-match. That means no new quitting lobbies because you forgot to make a change. And the ninja perk is back. This is basically dead silence from Modern Warfare, but it is going to work slightly differently in Cold War. Depending on how fast you're moving, the ninja effect will vary. If you're crouch walking, you'll make almost no noise whatsoever. But if you're full sprinting, the sound will still be louder, but not as loud as if you're running without the ninja effect active. So, to me, that sounds like a good balance. I might finally be able to have some kind of idea where a player might be, and they not just be completely silent, even though they're full sprinting right next to me, as they do in Modern Warfare. I really don't like that system, so if this works as I think it's going to work in Black Ops Cold War, this could be a good change. Now, on from all of that general multiplayer stuff, I do have some very limited information about Warzone. In the stream, David Vonderhaar confirmed that both Cold War and Warzone will heavily integrate together, and various other members mentioned Warzone during the live stream, and one of the main things was progression being shared between the two parts of the game. This means that XP earned in Warzone, any unlocks earned in Warzone, gun rank ups, new attachments and stuff like that, that will all carry over into Cold War, and it will all be active in Warzone. It doesn't matter where you unlock it, you'll be able to use it on both sides. According to Treyarch, Warzone is also going to pick up from where Modern Warfare's narrative left off, and it's going to weave in the narratives, the themes, and the locations of Cold War into Warzone. So, I'd expect some pretty significant changes to the Warzone map when it's handed over from Modern Warfare to Cold War. One thing that is staying the same is the content from Modern Warfare that exists in Warzone. So all of the weapons that you use, the operators that you use, the weapon skins, the charms and things like that, all of that is going to remain accessible in Warzone and Modern Warfare. So even though Cold War is taking Warzone over to a new game, all of the items that you earned, unlocked or bought from Modern Warfare, the previous game, those will still exist within Warzone when it moves to Cold War, which is pretty awesome. That means all of the content that's already in Warzone will be active in Cold War, and then of course you've got all the Cold War content that will be coming to Warzone as well. That's a huge amount of content that we'll have to play with. At the moment, that's all the Warzone information that we have, but I'm guessing there will be a separate reveal event for Warzone and what's coming later, closer to the launch, along with probably a zombies reveal as well. Oh, and one final thing, kind of important, all of the Black Ops Cold War post-launch content, like multiplayer maps and modes, that will be free for everybody. That also applies to Warzone as well, which remains the big free-to-play element of Call of Duty. So Warzone is going to stay free to play. Cold War, you'll have to pay your $60 or whatever it costs to get access, but all the post-launch content, so the multiplayer maps and modes, all of that is going to be free, just the same as it has been with Modern Warfare. So right now, that's really all there is to know about Black Ops Cold War multiplayer. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you all in the next one.